On today's episode, you will receive everything that you need to know ahead of what is shaping up to be a really, really fun season-ending slate. I hate this saying, I really do, but I think it sums up this game so perfectly. This game had aura, it really did. You know, the heavy rain, the Bills' red jerseys, lots of defensive stands. This game was everything you want late in the season. I think the only thing it was missing was probably some snow. Charlie, as a Seahawks fan, you getting a bit nervous?
But this is a genuinely good contending team. Seahawks have been pretenders almost every season since 2013. We've had a one bad season here or there, but this is maybe the first year in a decade I feel like this is a team that can win the Super Bowl.
6 confirmed in each conference, but it's a really interesting group of playoff teams that we're going to see, and you do sort of go into these games thinking anyone could beat anyone, which is we've not had in a long time. I mean, so many games in the wild card round. I mean, how many games have the Bills played against the likes of the Steelers? Wild card games where you just know they're going to run or over them. That's not the case in the playoffs this year. It really is not. So it's going to be fascinating.
Hello, everyone. Cecil Martin here.
Hey, this is Hunter Henry.
What's up, man? This is Max Crosby, part of Raider Nation.
Hey, this is Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman.
Hey, it's Tyler Lockett of the Seattle Seahawks.
Hey, this is Jerry Judy, wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, and you're listening to the 14-Yard NFL Podcast.
Well, here we are. There's just one Sunday left of the 2025 NFL regular season, and after an absolutely cracking Week 17, there's plenty to play for in Week 18. You're listening to the 14 Yards NFL Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Moores, and this is the main show of the 14 Yards Podcast Network, which is your home for British commentary on the NFL. Welcome back if you are a regular listener. It's great to have you with us again. If obviously you've been with us the whole season now, whole regular season, obviously continue the podcast throughout the playoffs as well. And if you're new around here, welcome. Our network ranges from a range of things, whether it's content on our website, to our main podcast, to our team-specific podcast like Falcons UK, to there's loads of stuff. And yeah, obviously this is our weekly deep dive on everything across the league. If you enjoy the show, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe on YouTube, or if you're listening on your preferred platform, feel free to leave us a review. It really helps us reach more NFL fans both in the UK and across the pond, because surprisingly, quite a few of our listeners are across the pond nowadays, which is quite nice. On today's episode, you will receive everything that you need to know ahead of what is shaping up to be a really, really fun season-ending slate. Well, we know 12 of our 14 playoff teams already. The standings could change drastically, and that's what's so fun about this week. So I'll get you across all the permutations. We'll also look at some of the major storylines heading into the final week of the season, and assess the TV schedule that the league has put in place before picking every Week 18 game against the spread. Joining to do all that is Charlie Wilson. He's one of the regular guests on the podcast so far this season. I think it's your 5th time on this season, including the previews to start the year. He also covers the NFL and several other US sports for Reach publications like the Mirror and the Express. He coaches the game over here as well. Welcome back to the podcast, Charlie, mate. It's great to have you on again. This is your 5th time on the podcast since our preview podcast to start the season. You were last on to preview the Madrid game, and before that, you joined me to reveal our big network combined mid-season power ranking, which saw the Lions, Colts, and Chiefs as our network's top 3. Wow, man. Somehow, some way, all 3 of those teams have been eliminated from the NFL playoffs heading in to Week 18. What a wild season it's been that something like that can happen. Can you believe it's nearly almost over?
Yeah, it's been a crazy season, and it's gone by so fast. It seems to always do this. You watch Red Zone week 1, and then you go, okay, I've got 18 weeks of this, and then you blink and then, oh no, I've got one more week of it. It comes and goes very fast. And I mean, we did that power ranking not too long ago, and a lot has changed since then. It just shows the unpredictability of the NFL.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, we'll get straight into the podcast now because there's so much to cover. Because as you said, there has been quite a lot of unpredictability. So you've got a lot of teams that are 13-3, you got a lot of teams that are 11-5. So the standings, they could just I mean, they could end up all over the place. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but I think good example, the Jags could finish as the 1 seed, they could finish as low as the 7 seed. Based on one game, against the Colts, but it's against the Titans, which is just crazy because I think they're going to beat a 13-win team, but then if everybody, sorry, a 3-13 team, but if everyone else, also wins, then you're going to get like 3 or 4 teams with like loads of wins, and then you've got the Steelers or the Ravens with 9-10 wins or whatever, and then you look at the NFC and you're going to probably your 3 best records in the NFC are all going to be from one division, which is just absolutely crazy. We'll get straight into it now. As I said, we'll I think for me, there's only one place to start, and that's in Buffalo. I hate this saying, I really do, but I think it sums up this game so perfectly. This game had aura. It really did. The heavy rain, the Bills' red jerseys, lots of defensive stands. This game was everything you want late in the season. I think the only thing it was missing was probably some snow. There were so many narratives that, surrounding this game. Obviously, 2 very different halves as well. It was, I don't know about you, but I was sort of sat there watching it thinking, I can absolutely see these 2 teams playing at Levi Stadium in February for the Super Bowl. It kind of had that feel to it, but yet both of those teams have had so much pushback over the season. It's just been such an unpredictable season. I got a bit of pushback from Bills fans on X for saying I think the Bills could be a Super Bowl team, and I get it. They lost, and their offense was locked down by Vic Fangio. I think it probably is the Bills' worst offensive performance of the season. But for me, I still pick Josh Allen, James Cook, that offensive line, which is one of the best in the league, over every other team in the AFC. When it comes to it in the playoffs, that's exactly what you need. Those pieces are exactly what you need in the postseason. And Joey Bosa, yes, he only has a couple sacks, or 5 sacks, I think, but those have all come in big moments. He's getting healthier now as well. I think that clutch pass rusher will also be key for Buffalo. They've been missing that to get them over the top. They'll be looking at this AFC thinking, this is their year. Yeah, and then Philadelphia, I mean, that was one of the best defensive performances I think we've seen all season. 12 points, just a 1 turnover. Like, when that's defensive stand after defensive stand, especially against a team that has got a dominant run game, an MVP quarterback, and the offense for the Eagles, it was so good for a half. But then they almost let a statement win slip at the end. They're so confusing. I mean, I just got a bit of a ramble there, but it's one of those things where we don't really know what either of these 2 teams are. But again, going back to my original question, can you see these 2 teams in playing in a Super Bowl in February? Because I can.
So right now, no. However, I think both of these teams are set up to be good playoff teams because of the offensive line, because of their ability to run the ball. Josh Allen rightly gets a lot of praise, but James Cook has been their offense this year. And that's mostly because Buffalo's done a really, really poor job at wide receiver. And that's what ultimately I think is going to cost them from the Super Bowl. Terrell Shavers, who no one heard of 3 weeks ago, is making big plays. Brandon Cooks comes out of what I thought was retirement to have 100 yards. But they're heavily reliant on these guys who are not going to draw double teams in the playoffs and probably aren't going to beat some of the best cornerbacks in the league who you have to face to get to the Super Bowl. If Buffalo are going to get there, it's going to be through Josh Allen, and he needs to improve. Having said that, the defense is incredible. And that's the same about the Eagles, a great defense with issues at all the offense, really. Joe Brady and Kevin Patullo, both offensive coordinators, not done a great job this year. Kevin Patullo probably going to get fired at the end of the year. Having said that, the Eagles and the Bills, I agree with you. I also hate this word, do have that aura where they can just turn it on and they can beat anyone. So I can see it, but I do think it's a bit of a long shot right now. I think there's a better teams in each of the conferences.
Yeah, it was already interesting. It is a really interesting, set of 7 or 6 confirmed in each conference, but it's a really interesting group of playoff teams that we're going to see, and you do sort of go into these games thinking anyone could be anyone, which is we've not had in a long time. I mean, so many games in the wild card round. I mean, how many games have the Bills played against the Steelers? Wild card games where you just know they're going to run or over them. It's not that's not the case in the playoffs this year. It really is not. So it's going to be fascinating There was another cracker this week as well. For the second straight week, the 49ers were involved in a game of the season candidate. And for the second straight week, they came out of a shootout victorious, somehow setting up a showdown for the number 1 seed with the Seattle Seahawks, despite missing Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and Brandon Ayuk for a significant portion of the season. Obviously, Ayuk's not played a single game this season, and he won't in the postseason either. Combined, those guys have missed 42 games. Brock Purdy has only played in 8 games. George Kittle's only played in 10 games. I mean, many people had them as wanted candidates going into the season because of their really easy schedule. We had this conversation in our NFC West preview. It's not been so easy in the end for the Niners. They've played 8 games against teams 500 or above. They've won 5 of them. Only the Seahawks, Jags, and Rams have a better record than that against teams 500 or above. It's very strange. Having seen this team fold in similar circumstances twice, because they've had 2 6-win seasons sandwiched. Sorry, there's a bread, and then the sandwich of is 3 NFC Championship game appearances. It's either the Niners are really hot or they're really not. With all these injuries, we thought it would be one of those seasons again. Not really it's not been the case that here we are fighting for the 1 seed. How the hell has that happened, eh?
Yeah, they look to have an easy schedule on paper, and they have had an easy schedule on paper. That's not to. Having said that, they've missed Brock Purdy for 9 games, and Mac Jones has come in, and Kyle Shanahan, who, unfortunately, I'm a Seahawks fan, but the Niners are my least favorite team. But Kyle Shanahan should win Coach of the Year this year. The way he's coached that offense has just been fantastic. Brock Purdy playing the best football of his career right now. Go watch some of the plays he made in that game. That touchdown where he's spinning and then nonchalantly just finds the guy in the left-hand side of the end zone. Just sort of like really, really nice play. Then Christian McCaffrey running the ball well. Again, without Trent Williams at the weekend. They're starting to turn it on and look like real contenders, which I did not see this coming at all. I think I picked them to finish 3rd in the NFC West, and that may still happen. Having said that, they could easily get the 1 seed if they win at home against the Seahawks this weekend. And yeah, that's a real credit to what they've done. And having said that, with the defense that they have, which is really bad, it's really impressive to see how well they've done this year.
Yeah, you mentioned 2 things I was going to get to. We'll start with Kyle Shanahan first. Yeah, I mean, overnight he shot up to 2nd in the Coach of the Year odds behind Mike Vrabel. There's sort of been a lot of people getting behind this idea of him. It's going to be the closest Coach of the Year race that I can remember, because you've got so many guys that are probably worthy of it. Obviously, I mentioned Vrabel. You've got Liam Cohen. You've got say the Panthers get in there. You've got Dave Canales. You've got so many coaches that Jim Harbaugh's done a great job with his Chargers team. So many people that you think really could be eligible for Coach of the Year and would win it on any other year. Ben Johnson, another one. It is crazy. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and not even mentioning Mike McDonald. We'll get on to him later. I mean, a lot of surprise for him from everyone, including myself, over the podcast. Over the podcast this season. Crazy. But I mean, Shanahan, you have to say this is probably his best coaching job. And he's had some pretty good teams and got to the Super Bowl twice.
But yeah, he has. And like I say, done it with maybe his weakest roster in quite a while. He just had his stars. But George Kittle, when he's played, has been fantastic. Like I say, Brock Purdy is just playing out of his skin right now. If he was playing like this for over the course of the season, he would be MVP over Drake May, and Drake May's been amazing. So the teams need to look out for the Niners, because, I mean, they could be Super Bowl favorites, and I wouldn't bat an eyelid right now. And I was thinking, about a month ago, they're not contenders. They finally died. They finally left the playoff conversation, but they're right in it, Sam. Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. As we said earlier on, we win this game, they are the 1 seed of the in the NFC. We'll go through that game. We'll go through that game really in a short period. I just want to mention one thing. You mentioned it there, the Niners defense. I mean, I do worry about it in the playoffs because you have a lot of young guys on it. Don't have a pass rush. the offense is having to be perfect, but it's being it's scoring 30 points. But it feels like every single week it can score points. As I mentioned, Brock Purdy's playing lights out right now as well. Even getting here in the first place is a big achievement in what is meant to be a transitional period for this team. And shout out to the Bears too as well. In that game, probably felt like they could have won it. Another great game, crowned down to North champions this weekend. Of course, they are legit. The Bears are legit in a wide open NFL. Right, we're going to talking about that game now. We sort of teased it a little bit earlier on. The battle for the 1 seed between the 49ers and the Seahawks. The primetime game on Saturday night, 1 a.m. kickoff UK time. Charlie, as a Seahawks fan, you get a bit nervous?
So that Rams game 2 weeks ago was probably the nervous I've been in a Seahawks game since 2015. Like, this is the first time I think Seahawks fans can agree, those who are extremely biased, that this is a genuinely good contending team. Seahawks have been pretenders almost every season since 2013. We've had a one bad season here or there, but this is maybe the first year in a decade that I feel like this is a team that can win the Super Bowl. So yeah, I'm very nervous, especially seeing how well that offense played against the Bears last week. Having said that, the defense set up pretty well for my quarterback, up and down quarterback, to play well in, because the Niners have the worst pass rush in the league. So it should be a game for him to really prove people wrong, but he's one of those players that can turn into a pumpkin at any time, and I'm hoping he doesn't do that anytime soon.
Yeah, we'll talk about him a little bit because there is a sort of worrying trend with Sam Darnold, and that is certainly the case. But obviously, this game will be the second of a double header on ESPN on Saturday, which surprised me. I thought NBC would have loved a 1 seed showdown to close the season. Instead, that game we'll see the Steelers play the Ravens in the battle for the AFC North title. I mean, I get it. Obviously, it could be Aaron Rodgers' last game. But that did surprise me. I mean, I bet ESPN are buzzing that they've got a game of this card, but the amount of games they've had that haven't been great over the years, whether it's playoff games or season-ending games. They've got a kind of do-or-die game for the division with the Bucs and the Panthers, which we'll talk about later on, and then this game here for the 1 seed. I mean, they're added to the Super Bowl rotation soon, and they've got this game, which will be one of the most viewed games of the year.
Yeah, good for them, but it's two of the best games of the weekend, really. I mean, Carolina, Tampa, they're two teams who are not very good, very flawed. But like I say, a game where the winner is going to play a home game in playoffs for the division, winner takes all kind of game. And then you get exactly that, but with the number 1 seed on the Saturday night game. I wish it was on the Sunday, that game. Both teams have got quite a lot of injuries where you want to see them both at their healthiest, but it's what it is. But yeah, 2 exciting games. I'm very much looking forward to staying up all night watching them too.
Yeah, we have to look all the way back to week 1 for the last time these two teams met. The Niners were victorious that day, winning 17-13 after a Jake Tunges touchdown inside the 2-minute warning. Obviously, we're speaking about the Niners a fair bit, so we'll get on to your Seahawks now. I thought your take that the Seattle will win the division back in our NFC West preview, in August, was wild, but here we are with 1 week to go, eh?
Yeah, I understand. Vegas had them winning 7.5 games. And by the way, Seahawks could win 14 games, which is double what Vegas had. And McDonald still isn't one of the favourites for Coach of the Year. Like, what more can he possibly do? But it's fine. I had confidence. I always had confidence in this team just because, mainly of the coach and mainly of the defense. They kept all their starters. They added DeMarcus Lawrence, who's been so much better than what anyone could have hoped for. Like, this guy is unbelievable. He might be playing the best football of his career right now.
Well, exactly. Who would have thought at this stage of his career he'd be getting Pro Bowl nominations and stuff? Exactly. We all thought he was done the last couple of years in Dallas, really.
Yeah. And then we've had Leonard Williams still playing fantastic football. Byron Murphy has been one of the best defensive players in the league this year. No one will speak about him because he's an A-gap guy. He has double teams every play, but man alive, he shuts down the running game by himself. And there's not too many players capable of doing that ever. Like I'm thinking that in Dominican Sue, Vita Vea, Byron Murphy, like he's in that conversation. It's mainly on the defense, which is why I had belief in Seattle. And then a certain wide receiver has helped them out hugely on offense, and is probably the reason why they are in a game for the number 1 seed.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy to me. I do like watching them. I think it's a bit like the Eagles, where it's not been pretty at times for Seattle. Like there are games where they've struggled, but they just keep finding ways to win. It's like Philadelphia are at what we'll go to 12 wins. No, they're not 12 wins. They'll go to so Philadelphia could be a 13-win team, and yet nobody rates them. Seattle, could be a 14-win team. Again, I feel like the Seahawks team are flying under the radar a little bit because this defense is one of the best in the NFL. The offensive line is playing to a level that I thought it couldn't. I mean, Gray's able to. So many draft picks. John Snyder, shout out, because so many young players on this team are playing so well. Obviously, Nicky Manwari, obviously second-round player, as well. Like, this is a young team. And it shocks me how they keep fighting through that adversity, how they keep finding ways to win. I mean, here's a stat, right? Seattle was 6 wins in which his offense has turned the ball over multiple times. That's
I think they lead the league in turnovers.
Yeah,
offense.
That's 3 more. Yeah, Sam Darnold leads the league in turnovers. That's 3 more wins with the offense committing multiple turnovers than any other team in the NFL. Like the fact that a young team is doing that is just what I find so impressive. But again, you got 2 young teams there, because this Niners team is not the Niners team that was in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. There's so many young guys, so many new guys on offense as well. Obviously you'd probably say Ricky Pierce was the number 1 guy now in terms of the receiving core. Obviously he was still in college at that point. Well, they reached Super Bowl a couple of years ago. This is it is a change in the guard across the league, and obviously this Seattle team. I mean, you know what I'm going to ask you next? About Sam Darnold, and this is the thing. It's like, is this sustainable? That's the thing, because I look at Mike Macdonald and I see a absolute 100% coach of the year candidate in this guy. I see a team that has been set up incredibly well. So many young players on this team. That defense, again, so many young players on that defense as well. And I'm thinking, this is set up for some real big success, but it all depends a bit about that quarterback. Because as I mentioned, Sam Darnold leads the NFL in turnovers. And when the lights have shone brightest and teams have forced him to sort of hold on to the ball a little bit longer than he'd like, obviously he likes to get the ball a lot quicker out now than he did when he was the Jets and Panthers. It's down by about half a second compared to what it was back then. When it goes back to that sort of 3-second mark with Sam Darnold, where he's sort of, that's where there have been issues. Obviously, you look at the 2 games at this point last season, the Vikings game, then the Rams game, and in the playoffs. Sorry, the Lions game, the Rams game in the playoffs. Are you worried at all that he can slip back into that, because he's been so good at points this year? And again, he had these games. Obviously, the Rams game, the first one, and Seattle very nearly almost won that game, even with those 5 turnovers from the quarterback. Knowing that they keep doing this, even with his leading the league in turnovers, even with the fact that they keep winning games, even though he's doing that. Are you a little bit worried that might come to an end at some point, because it just feels like they're sort of riding their luck? This team.
Yeah, definitely. 100% is the answer. Yes. However, I will say, so the first half of the season, Quinn Kubiak, Seahawks offensive coordinator, was in a lot of these conversations. He's like, this is the guy to look out for head coach next year. He is playing himself. He's coaching his way into being fired, because he has been awful the last 10 weeks of the season.
Seahawks New Orleans last year. Exactly the same in New Orleans.
Exactly the same. They have no identity. They have no go-to players. Their offense is run the ball, and then hope JSN makes an amazing catch or gets open for a first down. It's become really that they're making it hard for Sam Darnold with his rollout plays to the left. Like, he's a good athlete, but he's not athletic. Like, he's not going to outrun defensive end or outside linebackers, but they're just not making it easy for Sam Darnold. And then when, we're in shotgun on 3rd and 4 and, long wide receiver routes down the field and he's got to take his time in the pocket, that's when he struggles, when it's like, first read off, second read off. Okay, now I need to do something, and then I run into a sack. Like, try and make it easy for him. Matt Stafford gets the ball out the quickest in the league. Sam Darnold needs to be around that. Oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I've gone off for a second. I'm back. Sam Darnold, I don't know what happened there. Sam Darnold needs to be throwing the ball straight away, like within 2 seconds. Like you say, when he gets to 3 seconds, that's when he starts worrying. I wish Seattle would make it easy for the quarterback. Having said that, he is making He's making a few terrible mistakes. The 2 picks against the Rams were just really, really bad. But what I did see in that game was him bouncing back and making some throws where he's poised, taking his time in the pocket and getting the ball where it needs to be. So he is showing that ability of bouncing back after poor plays. So I really hope if he does, throw an ugly pick in this game against the Niners, but he's not able to, when it, start seeing ghosts again, and then, he plays poorly for the whole game like he did against the Rams the first time around. So let's hope he's turned the corner.
Okay, let's get into picking this game now. Seattle are favored by 1.5 points going to San Francisco. Interesting little tidbit about this game. Then the Niners are wearing their NFL, like the Nike rivalry ones. They're wearing the new black uniform for this game, which is going to be quite cool to look at. Obviously, the Seahawks wore those against the Rams in that Thursday night game a couple of weeks ago. I'll let you pick first here. Obviously, 1.5 points. I wonder which way you're going to go.
It's one of them where the heart says one thing and the head says the other. I've got to go with my heart. I'm going to say that San Francisco's lack of pass rush is going to see them struggle in this game, and I do think it will see them struggle in the playoffs. I'm going to take Seattle on the spread here. I'm
going to go for Seattle as well. They can score points like San Francisco, and they got a much better defense. So yeah, it's sort of what you're saying as well there. Right, in the AFC, we'll talk about the sort of 1 seed being still up for grabs here. Any one of 3 teams could claim that 1 seed. So I'll just let you know of the permutations here. The Broncos are in control of their own destiny. All they have to do is beat the Chargers, who are resting Justin Herbert with the wildcard berth already secured. But should they fail to do that and New England beat Miami, the Patriots will have home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. But if neither of those teams does win, the Jaguars are still alive for that one seed, despite not even actually securing their own division yet. They could finish anywhere between 1st and 7th, and except 4th, which obviously is reserved for the AFC North winner. Yeah, if they beat Tennessee and the Broncos and Patriots both lose, Jacksonville wins a 3-way tiebreaker at 13-4. They will be the 1 seed. But if they lose to Tennessee and the Texans beat the Colts, Houston will win AFC South via the tiebreaker between those 2 teams. So it is all over the place. They're switching towards those division races. Will start in the NFC. When I was writing my notes last night, I was ready to introduce this segment saying, let's go on to the other game of that doubleheader on Saturday evening, which is one of 2 win or bust games, that kind of thing, was assigned the 2 playoff spots. But after the Falcons shot the Rams overnight, it's got a bit more complicated than that. After both the Carolina Panthers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost on Sunday, the NFC South title will come down to this game in Tampa Bay on Saturday afternoon US time, about 9:30 UK time on Saturday. If Carolina wins, the division is theirs. If they lose, Tampa Bay will head into Sunday atop the NFC South, but won't be confirmed champions until after the Saints-Falcons game in Sunday's early window. And that's because if the Falcons win, all 3 teams will have an 8-9 record. So it comes down to a tiebreaker between those 3 teams, which Carolina owns. So the Tampa Bay could win the game, top the division, but then actually end up coming second to Carolina after all based on 1 game, which is crazy. So yeah, to recap, Tampa needs to win and the Falcons to lose, otherwise the Panthers are division champions. And this feels all too much like that race for the NFC East a few years ago. Do you remember the one where you had the Eagles in disarray, changing quarterbacks and everything? And then Washington somehow alive despite having a losing record and playing some terrible football. It feels like that kind of year. And obviously, this time both these teams want to be in the playoffs. Unlike Philadelphia back then, they actively tanked and lost the game mid-game on purpose and let Washington get into the playoffs there. I mean, it worked out in the long run for Philadelphia because they've reached 2 Super Bowls and won a Super Bowl since. but it feels like that. It feels like neither of these two teams want to be in the playoffs. I mean, the Bucs have made it tough work, going 1-7 since their bye week, falling to 7-9. What on earth has gone wrong with this Bucs team, Charlie?
Yes, I was actually at a Tampa game a few weeks ago. I went to see them against the Arizona Cardinals, and I spoke to a lot of fans at the game, and I asked them, do you think this team is going to compete this year? And I was like, almost all of them like, no way. Like, they are so out of whack. The defense is playing way above what it's capable of, and they've come right back down to earth recently. Baker Mayfield does not look the same. Emeka Egbuka has just done absolutely nothing for like 2 months. He was like leading the league in yards for the first, I think, 7 weeks of the season, and now he's probably not going to make 1,000 yards on the year. He's done very little in recent weeks. And that's despite getting Mike Evans back as well. They've still not improved.
And Chris Godwin back, and Jalen McMillan back, and the running backs back. Everyone's back.
Yeah.
Everyone's back now.
It's because on paper you think, this is a pretty good roster. Everyone at the start of the season was saying this is the team to watch out for. And they look awful. They don't look like they're going to beat anyone in the playoffs. In Carolina, they've got a strong, solid defense with good individual players, but they're heavily reliant on one wide receiver. And Bryce Young just isn't. He's just not it. I don't think.
Really?
I think he's always going to be a okay quarterback at best, but his limitations, his height, his arm strength, his decision making is just not good enough. I really can't see him being anything better than a Tua Tagovailoa.
See, I'd know. Maybe obviously what I would say, the thing he does have over Tua is he can win a game on his own, whereas Tua can never do that.
Yeah,
he has the most game-winning drives since he entered the league. He can absolutely win a game on his own, but all those games are often when the Panthers have been a terrible team, and they've somehow got a bit of luck and come back into it. And they've not had a game-winning drive of note against like a big opponent. That's the thing with them, and it is a huge game this for Bryce Young. We'll stop talking about Tampa, and then we'll get into that because I'm quite I got quite a little bit on that. But yeah, watching that game against the Dolphins on Sunday again, Tampa Bay looked like a very bad, like I'm talking like bottom half of the league bad football team. I mean, I thought they'd get it right for that game again because they had to win it. If Carolina won, then they would have been, and they lost, they would have been eliminated. So I would have thought, the weapons are back. They're going against Miami, who have quit on McDaniel now. I think since the end of the Steelers game. But they were terrible. Baker wasn't really great. They couldn't run the football. The defense, my word, the Bucs defense is bad. For me, right, Quinn Ewers did absolutely nothing special in that game whatsoever, right? And he was just thrown to wide open guy after wide open guy, 2 touchdowns, really easy. I mean, yeah, everyone in the Dolphins press are like, oh, maybe they got a guy here, maybe they got a decent, maybe bridge level quarterback here. He was terrible, he genuinely, but he did nothing to note. This is my point, right? He had a PFF grade of 47.7, and yet he looked like prime Tom Brady in this game because of how bad the Bucs defense is. Is like, that was how easy it was. It was just wide open guy after wide open guy, easy throws. I was shocked at how bad the Bucs defense was in that game, and all of a sudden Todd Bowles has gone from Coach of the Year talk, before their bye week, to serious hot seat talk in the same season. It is, it just looks to have spiraled out of control for them. I don't actually quite know why. It's one of those where you can just sort of, now the players are back, you'd think they'd be able to get back on track, but it's just not happened. And Yeah, Carolina. I mean, this is a great opportunity for them. Only the Jets have a longer playoff drought than the Panthers, who, alongside the Falcons, have not made the postseason since 2017. I think Bryce Young has come along quite a lot since being benched midway through last year. I do think it's come along quite a lot. Their defense, as well, you mentioned that as well. I think Edgeo Evero is getting back on the head coach radar now. I think he's turned the defense around that was the worst in NFL history last year. He's turned that defense around to a defense that is really hard to go up against, especially run the ball against. Derek Brown is having an unbelievable season. Obviously, he did miss last year, so that's part of the reason why they were so terrible last year. But yeah, he's come back and they've just been brilliant. So shout out to him. And I mean, I think the consensus is this Carolina team is probably still a year away. They need another weapon in the pass game. For being honest, and again, they just need probably a premier pass rusher. And then I think this Carolina team can, especially in that NFC South, can cause problems. But again, they're one of those teams where they've sort of just they're 1-4 to start the year. They likely never thought they'd be here. It's a great opportunity for them, and it's a huge game for Bryce Young. I mean, he's had some big boy moments. Again, as I said, he's got a league leading 10 game winning drives over the last couple of years since coming into the league. But nobody really gets to watch Bryce Young. Carolina played very few standalone games. Because who the hell wants to watch the Panthers on prime time? Let's be real. It's one of those where not many people actually get to watch Bryce Young do his thing week in week out, because the Panthers are playing a terrible team. All they're getting smashed in prime time. Like, for example, they're going against the Niners about a month ago now, or they're playing in the 6 p.m. window against there's some meaningless game. Like, this is a great opportunity for Bryce Young. Especially after what Seattle's defense did to Carolina last week as well. Because that was the biggest spot of his career until now, and Seattle's defense is just incredible. To be fair, he actually almost at one point did get a chance to maybe come back into the game, but then JC Horn did that face mask on the third down call, which just ruined the game, because it was a one-score game at that point. Bryce Young maybe if they can get something going on in the fourth quarter, but then that face mask on third down stopped that. This is going to be a fascinating game just to see what the hell the Panthers look like in this spot, because this is the biggest spot the Panthers have played in for about 8 years, which is just crazy saying that.
Yeah, probably since the Cam Newton days. It's like the first time Carolina, it's going to be serious team. The playoffs was 2017 with Cam Newton. I mean, good opportunity for them. They will lose in the wild card round, to think, but again, like for a rebuilding team to be here already, bear in mind they had number one overall pick, bad record wise, twice in a row 2 years ago. This is a good opportunity for them, isn't it? Just to learn, because none of these players would have really experienced anything like this. Exactly, yeah, and it's a game where Bryce Young could go in feeling very confident, and as to say, this is where I make my statement and prove to anyone who is doubting him, like me, that he's, worthy of his big contract, which he'll ask for next year. Tampa Bay really struggle covering in the middle of the field. Their linebackers in particular, and Levante David and Savokia Dennis, are exceptionally poor in coverage. So I imagine we're going to target the middle of the field a lot. They did lose Jatavion Sanders for tight end, which is going to be a pretty big loss. So I expect to see McMillan out of a slot a lot of it in this game. But yeah, this is a game where Carolina can think, we make a statement here and prove that, we're not one of the worst teams in the league. So I would be picking them going into this game.
Well, I mean, look, they beat the Bucs 2 weeks ago, didn't they? And look quite good doing it as well. So this is a great opportunity for them. It's time to pick this game now. Tampa are the home team, and because of that, they're 2.5-point favourites. So the bookies really think there's not much between these two teams at all. Which way are you going here?
Yeah, I'm going Carolina against the spread here. I like the Panthers. I think they're a much better team than Tampa Bay. I have no confidence in Tampa Bay anymore. Yeah,
me too. I think it is sort of time for a change. So the Tampa Bay on Sunday were top 5 pick bad in my opinion. And the Panthers might even get star offensive lineman Robert Hunt back as well. He's the best guy on that offensive line. He's not played since week 2 as well. So that's obviously for their run game as well, which was shut down by Seattle. If they want to get that going, obviously Vita Vea is one of the best run stopping defensive linemen in the league. Getting Robert Hart in there will really help that as well, because I think that offense does rely on its run game quite a lot, because since they started running the football well, that's when this turnaround in form happened. Right. And then the final playoff spot will be decided on NBC's Sunday Night Football, where the Ravens head to Pittsburgh, hoping to knock them off the top spot of the AFC North, which they have held for all but 5 weeks of this season. The Steelers had the chance to wrap up their first division title since 2020 last week, but minus DK Metcalf, their offense was stifled by the Cleveland Browns defense. So the Ravens, who have been without Lamar Jackson for 5 games this season, and when Lamar has been in the lineup, he's been playing through injuries all year and has hardly had a full week of practice, are somehow still alive despite spending just 1 week above 500 this season, which is crazy. I mean, 2 storylines here really. Obviously, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, maybe potential game. What's going to happen with the Steelers offense? Where do you want to start with this game?
I mean, shout out to Derrick Henry, still doing it at an elite level, like that last week. Like, what was it, 220 yards, 4 touchdowns. And Green Bay knew that's what we were going to do. Like, Tyler Huntley was at quarterback, played pretty averagely. It was just give the ball to Derrick Henry, ISO power. I'm stronger than you. I'm going to get these yards. And it was a joy to watch, man. Against a playoff team as well in Green Bay.
He needed that as well, because he's not had the best season. Obviously, at the start of the Ravens looked really, really good in the season opener against the Bills. Really good. They ran away over them. And then that fumble, the fumbles changed it. But they looked unbelievable since then. And they've not really been right since. But last week, actually without Lamar, which is a funny thing, but that was the most complete performance that team's had all season. And it's come at the right time, which is the whether Lamar's back or not is the interesting thing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I mean, for the Steelers, like, what an opportunity this could be to miss the playoffs, because they would have thought when Lamar Jackson went down, when they had a couple game lead for the division, it was over, and then DK Metcalf goes and gets his suspension, and that could prove costly, missing this game, the biggest game of the season, and their number 1 player on the entire team this season. You could probably say, I think obviously TJ Watt's not really had the year that he's had health issues and stuff as well, but like he's not had the year that he's had in previous years and everything. Like, he's probably been the Steelers' best player all season, and because of a little split second decision in that Lions game, which was so crucial that the Steelers won, now they could end up missing the playoffs anyway because they're missing him because of that suspension. I mean, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, what a ridiculous thing for DK to do. I know there's previous with that guy, and I think they're coming together 2 years ago when Seahawks played the Lions. But I mean, I'm sorry, you assaulted a fan. The fact that you only got 2 games for that is outrageous, by the way. Like, you cannot punch a fan. Like, I don't care what he said. In fact, I do care what he says, but we've seen the video. All it does is call you by your real name. Like, we've seen the video. Like, we know what it is now. It's ridiculous. It's selfish, and it might cost the play. And listen, I love DK Metcalf. And Seahawks, he was on my team for a long time. We're trading him away. I have nothing but love for that guy. He's a fantastic, unique, very unique player. But that was ridiculous. And the Steelers' offense without him looked totally out of whack. Aaron Rodgers was throwing fade routes to Scotty Miller, who's about 5'2". And obviously, that didn't work. They relied on Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who I forgot was still in the league. Dana Washington is now out as well. Another really underrated player. That's another big target for Aaron Rodgers, who can't rely on. It's going to be 35-year-old Adam Thielen this weekend, who Rodgers is really going to lean on against a Baltimore defense that's starting to improve a little bit. They still have issues, Baltimore, but yeah, this is a tough game without DK Metcalf for Pittsburgh. And the idea of them missing out on the playoffs after beating the Lions last week is just absurd. Like, that is a massive shoot yourself in the foot moment.
Yeah, which is crazy because when you actually think about it, I mean, Mike Tomlin's done a pretty good job again. I mean, like, he has somehow managed to get Aaron Rodgers on side, which a lot of coaches haven't been able to do for a while. There's a great moment at the end of the Lions game with Rodgers and Cam Hayward. This Steelers team has probably been the funnest Steelers team to watch in a long time. And yet they could end up missing the playoffs just because of that. It is crazy. And obviously, to do that, the Ravens would have to beat the Steelers, and they may be without Lamar Jackson for this game. So, you know, we don't know who's going to play at quarterback. We won't know until later in the week, as it's only Tuesday. John Harbaugh has described his back contusion that was obviously sustained while the Ravens were leading the Patriots on Sunday Night Football in Week 16 as very serious. So there is a possibility we don't see Lamar in this game. Crazy. I mean, just crazy scenario here. I mean, some experts are wondering if the Ravens are even fed up with his unreliability in general, and this could be sort of the end for either one of Jackson or Harbaugh in Baltimore. How do you feel about this Ravens team heading into this game?
Yeah, I listened to a few Baltimore podcasts recently about this, and they were all saying, like, you know, if we can get 2 first rounds for Lamar Jackson, do it. I'm like, that is crazy. Like, this time last year, you know, probably should have won MVP, and probably would have been.
He should be, back-to-back MVP right now, reigning MVP.
Yeah.
That's how
that would be his third MVP.
Yeah.
Third MVP, and most people would say best quarterback in the league. Now you're saying, let's get the same draft assets as people got from Micah Parsons and Quinn Williams for him. Like, it's crazy to think about, but, you know, back injury. He's been on injury report all season long with his back. It might be something that's pretty serious that we're not in the know about. But I mean, having said that, though, his play this year has been exceptionally poor. Like, it's just not been good at all.
Except for the Patriots game. He was balling in that Patriots game, and then he got injured in it. Like, again, if they beat, imagine how if he just stayed in that game, the Patriots would be being called frauds going into the playoffs. the Ravens would probably have the division locked up by now. Like, so much has changed in just one half of football. With that, and it is crazy. Like, and I mean, you got a little bit of hope if you're a Baltimore fan. Say if Lamar does play, they played really well against Green Bay on Saturday night. Also get the extra day over Pittsburgh as well, which, you know, in terms of preparation will be big, getting the extra day's rest. And then you're looking at that Patriots game thinking, we were a couple scores up against a team that is fighting for the 1 seed, you know, with Lamar Jackson. It's one of those where Baltimore should win this game if the pieces come together. It's just what version of the Ravens turn up and who plays the quarterback for the Ravens, really, isn't it, this game?
Yeah, it's all on the quarterback. I mean, if Lamar Jackson plays this game, I think I favour them. I do worry with either way, though, if Lamar or it is Tyler Huntley. The Steelers have a really good interior. Cam Hayward is still playing at an elite level. Keanu Benton's a good run stuffer. I'm a rookie from Oregon. Excuse me. Derek Harmon is having a solid year. So, you know, can they get the better of Baltimore's struggling interior offensive line, and then just shut Derrick Henry down? And if they do that, Steelers are going to win the game. So that's, I think, a big thing to consider. But I mean, if Lamar Jackson plays like 80% of Lamar Jackson, you know, it's hard not to pick Baltimore.
Well, Baltimore are favored by 3.5 points in this game, which I thought, Ben, while we don't know anything about Lamar's availability yet, did surprise me a little bit. You know, Ben, this game is in Pittsburgh and the Ravens are 3.5 point favourites. I was like, okay. What do you make of that line, and which way are you going?
Yeah, it's a confusing line. It's as if to say Vegas just don't believe in Pittsburgh at all, isn't it, really? And I mean, I get it after watching them last week lose to a very poor Shedeur Sanders and a bad Cleveland Browns team. I get it, but I'm still going to go with Pittsburgh here. I don't think I trust Baltimore's offense against Pittsburgh's run defense. Whatever defense has struggled as a whole, but like I said, those three inside can do a real job against Baltimore. And then if they have to rely on Tyler Huntley, I can't see them winning this game. I'm picking Pittsburgh.
Well, in the last game, Derrick Henry did struggle in that game.
Exactly. Yeah.
The last game, obviously, so there was that to go off. Obviously, about a month ago. Now that game was. Yeah, I'm going for Pittsburgh too. I think if Lamar plays, I might pick Baltimore to win. But whether Baltimore win by a field goal or not is the other thing. So I'm going to go for Pittsburgh here just to be safe because I feel like it's going to be a close game. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends up 9-6 to the Steelers, or 9-6 to the Ravens, and I still get it still comes within by half a point. I think it's that kind of game. So I'm going to go for Pittsburgh there, and then just finally before we get into picking the rest of the games quickly because a lot of them are terrible, we'll just sort of flick through them. I just think the whole discourse about Lamar Jackson is crazy, as you were saying. I think he's coming off his two best years. I'd still argue again, as I said earlier on, he should be reigning back-to-back MVP right now. And you can say yes, the playoff success isn't really there, of course. But I think he's just been so unlucky, like running into obviously because he's always run into Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen in the playoffs, probably two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. That obviously Philip Rivers had a similar thing, didn't he? And he's always the Chargers did nothing in the playoffs, really, did they? But they always won the division every year in his early years, and it's very similar scenario there. Actually, I think I just think like. Last year was their year, and he was absolutely tremendous in that game against Buffalo. But he got let down by the two massive Mark Andrews mistakes. Say they win. Say that just one of those catches comes in, or he holds on to one of the football once. We might be talking about the Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens if we're just being honest. There and yeah, I mean I don't get it personally. Maybe the Ravens should work on getting a half-decent offensive line or a half-decent pass rush, which is what you need in the playoffs. Maybe that's what they should. Maybe that's what they should work on. Because again, this team cannot rush the passer, and this team cannot protect the quarterback whatsoever. And those are two things that you need to succeed in the playoffs. I don't think it's a Lamar Jackson issue. I think it's a team-building issue. To be completely honest with you. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But maybe something does need to change. But I don't think the quarterback's the guy. I think it would be dumb to move on from Lamar Jackson personally because he is the one constant on that team. If I'm being completely honest with you, and he's missed games with injuries. He's also almost won MVP 3 times, and he's won the division a lot more times than the Steelers, Bengals, and Browns have. Like this team has been a constant in the playoffs since it came in 2018. Okay, let's finish the podcast by predicting the rest of Week 18. We're coming down to this is the end of the picks competition in the regular season. It will carry on throughout the playoffs, but this is the basically Charlie. The guests are trailing by five wins to me. Oof. So you need a major week this week to sort of get on track because there aren't many games remaining when you get into the playoffs. So it was reduced to 5 games from 6. James Fotheringham beat me 7-5 to 6-6 last week. I've actually been at 500 the last 3 weeks. I've just been really mid 7-7, 8-8, and then 6-6. I've not really been able to. I have been the Indianapolis Colts of the picks competition the last couple of weeks. For that 11-5 season, 11-5 week in week 13 is what keeps me ahead of the guests. I'm at 121, 127, just below 500, and the guests were at 116 and 132. We'll get into these games now. A very mixed slate, actually, for the first time in a long time. The 9 p.m. slate is actually bigger than the 6 p.m. slate. There's more games in the later window, which is interesting. It's a nice split as well. A lot of these games are terrible, so we'll just sort of rush through them and make our picks. And we'll start with a game which actually might have a bit riding on it. Well, not for either of these two teams, but for the Bucs and the Panthers. We'll start with the Falcons hosting the Saints. The Falcons are 7-9. The Saints are 6-10. The Falcons after that win against the Rams are kind of on a bit of a. Both these teams come into this game with win streaks. Obviously, the Saints have won 4 in a row. The Falcons are 3.5-point favourites. Finally getting to see what their offense could do. A bit too late in the season. Really, I mean, this game means nothing for the Falcons. It means everything for the other two teams. The Saints look to have found something in Tyler Shuck, but they are 3.5-point underdogs in this game. Which way are you going here?
Two very weird teams, right? I mean, the Falcons especially, they feel like, I've said all season, Sam, like they can beat anyone, like they did last week, but they beat the Rams last night, right?
They beat the Rams and the Bills in their own building.
Yeah,
they've been blown out by the Panthers. By
the Panthers, blown out by the Seahawks, like badly. That could have been a 50-0 game. They just seem like any given Sunday team, as cliche as that sounds. But I think they can be confident in the future. It just needs to have a quarterback position because the players they've got are pretty exciting.
It's just whether Raheem Morris stays as well. He wasn't a hot seat until he's won the last couple of weeks. But
hey, my offensive coordinator Zach Robinson, who Zach Robinson at the time was seen as like, this is the guy who's going to be the next big thing, but he's looking like more of a Bobby Slowick type where he might be out of a job at the end of the season. I'm going to pick the Falcons here. I just think they're a better team than the Saints. Saints have done really well in recent weeks, been impressed with Tyler Shuck. I just think Atlanta are riding this high and will come out and make a statement going into the new season. I'm going to pick Atlanta here.
I'm going to go for the Saints just so that whichever team wins that game on Saturday actually wins the division, because I don't want it coming down to the Falcons winning the division for the Panthers. I feel that's a bit so just for the Panthers' own good, I'm gonna go for the Saints here. Okay, obviously all these games are division games to finish this season. The next one is in the AFC North. The 6-10 Bengals host the 4-12 Browns. Obviously, Myles Garrett going for the NFL single season sack record. He is half a sack away from tying it. He is obviously a full sack away from breaking it. So he didn't get to do it in 17 games. It'll be an 18-game record if he does do it. He's got a great offensive line to go up against because the Bengals' offensive line is terrible. But despite that, the Bengals are 7.5-point favourites in this game over the Browns. Which way are you going?
Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals here. The Bengals have maybe the worst defense of all time, and that's not even like that's not hyperbole at all. They're really, really bad. But their offense has Joe Burrow, and we have Jamar Chase, and we have T. Higgins, and they're very, very overpowered. The Browns have a solid defense, but should our standards, I need to see more. I need to see them stop making some boneheaded mistakes. They just feel like a team that's given up. All they're playing for is Myles Garrett's sack record. I hope he gets it because, why not? Seems like a cool guy and he's a great player. I'm going with Bengals here. I just think they're a much better team. So,
I think the Bengals probably might win, but by 8, I'm not so sure. So I'm going to put the Browns here. Maybe Myles Garrett has another 5-sack game, and then truly, like, there's no debate then whether he does deserve the record or not, even if it's 80 games. I just think the Browns play everyone close. I don't see why the Bengals can't be in that mix as well. So I think they're going to play everyone close. I think Cincinnati probably will win, but whether it's by more than a touchdown, I don't know. Right, this game about 10 weeks ago would have been penciled as maybe a sort of game to watch in terms of playoff seeding for the Colts. Instead, it's a game to watch in terms of playoff seeding for the Texans. The Texans are 11-5, and they are 10.5-point favourites over the Indianapolis Colts going into this game, which is just hilarious. Who would have thought that when they started 7-1? Obviously Houston win this. If the Jags lose, the Houston will win the division, so they're playing for quite a lot. The Colts may start Riley Leonard in this game. We're not really sure yet. It sounds like Shane Steichen wants to have a look at him. So it may not be Philip Rivers, but I don't think it really matters who starts at quarterback for the Colts going up against this Texans pass rush. It's just whether the Texans win by 10.5 points or not, isn't it here?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I watched a lot of Notre Dame last year. We covered quite a lot over an Irish Star. He's not an NFL quarterback. I'm sorry. Like, he's just not. He's an athlete playing quarterback with a bit. He's your standard, I'm big, I'm athletic, and I throw it very far. I mean, this guy cannot read coverages. He can't throw intermediate routes. If he starts against maybe the best defense in the league, I don't care what the spread is, as long as it's not 30, I'm going to take that team. So I'm going to take Houston here.
Me too. Me too. We'll stick in that division. Will obviously the Jags win this game, they win the division. Win this game, they could end up as the 1 seed as well. They play the Titans. The Jags are 11.5-point favorites in this game. I mean, who would have thought the Jags would be fighting for the 1 seed after they got absolutely spanked by the Rams in London, eh?
Yeah, and not even just that, they've even had a few wins where it does not look like a very good team. Shout out to Liam Cohn, man. What a job he has done without Travis Hunter as well for most of the year. Trevor Lawrence playing the best.
That Jacoby Myers trade was brilliant.
Yeah, really good. That new GM they've got, that little young guy who talks a lot, like fair play. He's done. What do you say? Like, oh, we're going to be light years ahead of everyone else in the league. Like, okay, buddy, like, sure. But fair play to him. You know, they've had a great first year. Grant, you didn't ski the offensive coordinator. He's like younger than me. I think he's like 29. Like, he's getting a lot of head coaching buzz, and he might land a role this offseason. Is one to look out for. But that's a big spread. I think I'm still going to take Jacksonville, but I think they're going to want to make a real statement heading into the playoffs and you know, say, look, let's get this offense going. You know, let's score big, and then let's get Trevor Lawrence out of the game. But I still think I'm going to take Jacksonville against the spread. Yeah,
I'm going to go for Jacksonville too, purely because obviously, yes, they probably have a very slim chance of getting the 1 seed, but if they don't win this game, they might not have a home playoff game. So I think that is obviously huge. They want to win the division for the first time in ages as well. Give me the. I say the age. They won a couple of years ago, didn't they? When they, but give me the Jags here minus 11.5. I think it's that's quite a good bet because I mean, I like Cam Ward, but this Titans roster is probably the worst in the NFL. So I don't trust them going up against a team that can manhandle teams like the Jags. Okay, this spread surprised me. The 8-8 Vikings are 6.5-point favorites over the 9-6-1 Packers, despite not knowing who's going to play at quarterback. Yeah. I mean, it is in Minnesota, but by 6.5 points, I was like, "Whoa, hang on a minute!" Because obviously it could be Max Brosmer again at quarterback. It probably will be Malik Willis. Obviously, I can't see Green Bay playing Jordan Love in this game because it means pretty much nothing for them. They are the 7 seed in the NFL. Maybe they're expecting Green Bay to, to play bench players because obviously they're not playing for anything here. We're at Minnesota, a bit of a win streak now. Obviously, was it 3-4 in a row now? Getting to 8-8. I mean, Brian Flores' defense is going to come to play in this game. Obviously, this is his last game as Minnesota DC. He's going to be a free agent. He may get a head coaching job. I hope he does because he's a great coach. But obviously, that lawsuit with the NFL was a bit iffy. Iffy there. Yeah, 6.5-point favourites. That's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, especially considering maybe Max Brosmer starting at quarterback, who is he's not it. Like,
and Malik Willis looked really good on Saturday night as well.
Malik Willis is he's in a bad quarterback draft, which is what we're getting this year. Malik Willis is a free agent. He's making himself a lot of money. He keeps playing like that. Like, some team think, let's give him a 2-year, $40 million contract like Justin Fields was last year. I can't believe that spread. That's crazy. They must think that Green Bay are benching everyone at that point, because I don't see how you back Max Brosmer by 6 points for that reason alone. Even if Green Bay play, all the backups, I'm still going to go for Green Bay here.
Do you know what? I'm going to go for Minnesota because I think that defense can cause chaos. And obviously, Green Bay are banged up on the offensive line as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like it could be a sort of Andrew Van Ginkel day kind of thing. I think Brian Flores is a revolutionary coach. I think he's probably the hardest guy to prepare against, especially if you're a young quarterback. So yeah, give me Minnesota here. And then the final game in the 6 p.m. slate sees the Giants host the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 5.5-point favourites in this game. What do you make of this spread? I mean, it makes sense, but both the teams aren't really playing for anything. I guess the sort of most interesting of the Cowboys is the fact they just released Trayvon Diggs, right?
Yeah, two very depressing teams right there. Trayvon Diggs, that cutting, it makes sense. He was going to get cut either way at the end of the season.
He can't cover.
He can't cover.
He can't cover. I mean, yeah, he can take the ball away, but he cannot cover whatsoever. Which
no, he is literally. What was his name? The guy who's Marcus Peters. He's Marcus Peters 2.0, where he's made a living on gambling on jumping routes and picking the ball off. And when he can't do that, he's getting beat quite a lot. He looks to be a shell of himself since that ACL injury 2 years ago. I still think a team will take a chance on him in the playoffs, but yeah, it makes sense. That cutting. What a depressing season for Dallas. Like, we have such a exciting offense and just they spend 2 first-round picks and Quinn Williams, and they still don't make the playoffs. And now you're probably going to have to give George Pickens a huge contract, and Quinn Williams, they've got no salary cap. Like, where do they go from here? I'm going to pick Dallas just because the Giants are the worst team in the league, arguably. Probably the Raiders. I'm going to pick Dallas just because of their offense, but yeah, I'm not going to watch a second of this game if I can. So,
me too. Again, I probably won't watch any of this game. The interesting thing here is that Dallas could come at 500 despite the 17 games because of the tie. If they win this game, they'll go 8-1. So yeah, yeah. So just define possibility almost, and still having an 500 season there is quite funny. Right, the 9 p.m. slate is more interesting. Basically, the early slate has got it's got the AFC South and the teams that aren't playing for anything. The late slate has pretty much all the teams that are above 10 or 11 wins. You've got the Bills, the Bears, the Broncos, the Rams, the Patriots, the Eagles, all playing against obviously the Chargers in there as well. A lot of these games are those teams at home against lesser opponents, so I think the average spread here is about 6 points, which is quite funny. But again, these teams are good; they're expected to win these games. Some are playing for something. Most of these are playing for positioning, other than there's one game in here, the Chiefs Raiders, which means absolutely nothing in terms of for Kansas City. But obviously, if the Raiders lose, they get the number 1 overall pick. We'll start with the Bills, who could finish anywhere between 7th and 5th. They are quite conveniently 7.5 point favourites over the Jets as the current number 7 seed. Let's talk about Josh Allen being benched, which is obviously part of the reason why they're only 7.5 point favourites against the Jets at home. I hope not, because this could be the last home game at Highmark Stadium. They're wearing the red throwback helmets in this game as well, which is quite cool. Yeah, Buffalo 7.5. I mean, the Jets are that bad. Even if it is the Bills' backups, you'd probably think it's better to lose by 7.5 points.
Yeah, it's hard not to pick Buffalo here. The Jets, again, another depressing team, another depressing season. Again, where do they go from here? New York. Still issues at quarterback, still issues with the roster. At least I've got a lot of first-round picks, but I mean, they can kind of look toward the future and say, there's a generational draft coming up in 2 years and we have 3 first-round picks. Like, that's crazy. So at least I've got a bit of excitement for the future, but this is not going to be a fun 2026 season for the Jets as well. I expect them to struggle once again. It would be nice to see Josh Allen play in this game the last time at Highmark. And I think I'm hoping he will. I think Buffalo either way are just so much better than the Jets, so I'm going to take Buffalo against the spread.
Me too. The next one should be interesting. Obviously, it's Bears against Lions. You'd like to think that'd be a good game. I think both those teams will go full strength. The Bears are playing for the 2 seed, and I can't see Dan Campbell resting starters against a division opponent, if I'm being honest. So because of that, the bookies things will be a close game. The Bears are only favored by 2.5 points in a game. Again, that is meaningful for them, fighting for the number 2 seed. Interesting one. Obviously, Ben Johnson with his former team again. They host the Lions. 2.5 points. Not much between these two teams. When the Lions are playing for nothing.
Yeah, not much at all. And I think the Lions beat the Bears last time. I think Ben Johnson's really going to want to get this one back and make a real statement against his former team. Because since Dan Campbell has taken over as OC, play caller, should I say, at the half max season point, Detroit's offense has not looked good. Very predictable. It just shows how much Ben Johnson was valued at Detroit and how important he was. And shout out to him. He's done a great job as a first-time head coach. I'm going to pick Chicago here.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Okay, this is an interesting one. Obviously, the Broncos, if they win, they get the number 1 seed in the AFC because of the tiebreaker they have are based on common opponents over the Patriots. They host their division rivals Chargers. Obviously, they also got a playoff spot. Now, despite obviously not knowing, basically that they've got a playoff spot secured. They're resting Justin Herbert. Obviously, with the amount of hits he's taken, amount of injuries he's currently nursing right now, it makes sense. There, so yeah, the Broncos are 12.5-point favorites going against the Chargers with Trey Lance starting at quarterback. Big spread for two teams that aren't that different, but obviously the quarterbacks do matter here, don't they? And Broncos are playing for the number 1 seed.
Yeah, when the Niners drafted Trey Lance in 2021, I jumped out of my sofa and celebrated because I hated that pick. I don't know why they did that. The guy is just didn't prove he was bad at college. He wasn't good. Like he had one.
And he was at a small school as well.
Small school as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Crazy pick. That was just all like, oh look at him do his throw at his combine. Look at how athletic he is. Ooh, was Adams College on the hands offense, they should have taken Mac Jones. And history has shown that. I don't trust Trey Lance at all. Denver played for the number 1 seed. This is a big spread. I'm still taking them.
Yeah, go on then. I'll take Denver as well. That defense in Denver. Yeah, go on then. But I'm not confident in that because obviously it is.
Yeah.
The Chargers are still a very good team.
Bo Nix's not been great recently.
No, he's not. But again, I do feel like they could get the number 1 seed here. They could absolutely kill. They could cover this 12.5-point spread, and they might still be underdogs going into their playoff game as the number 1 seed. Based on who, obviously they'll get the bye, but based on whoever they play in the divisional round, yeah, they could still be underdogs there, which would be crazy. Yeah, the Rams are a bit of an interesting one now. They're sort of playing for nothing really, other than the sort of higher seeding in the wildcard round. Say the Niners lose, yeah, because of the last couple of games, sort of going from 1 seed to now you're 11-5, couple of games off Seattle. All of a sudden, yeah, a bit of a weird one for them. They're playing Arizona. They're 7.5-point favorites here. Doesn't really mean much, but it does sound like they will go pretty much full strength in this game. Yeah, interesting one for them.
Yeah, I think the Rams need to go full strength because what they showed against Atlanta was not very good, and they need to get right game. And Arizona is the perfect opponent to play against because they are bad. They are very, very bad. I think they're 0-8 since Jacoby Brissett took over as the starter. Defense has nothing. They've lost a few of their good players to injury. Yeah, I think this is a game where Rams look to get right. I don't have any confidence in Arizona. Some big questions for them moving forward. So I'm taking the Rams here.
Yeah, go on then. I will as well. I think Arizona again one of the worst teams in the league. I love this Rams defense. So yeah, give me them here. And also the thing of the Rams is right. They finally fired their special teams coordinator, and guess what? They had a blocked kick for a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's like, within 1 week they had a blocked kick for a touchdown. That probably has cost them this number 1 seed. If we're being honest, that their special teams unit. So that's something to watch in the playoffs, and maybe something to watch in this game as well. The only game in this late slate not involving a playoff team is this Chiefs-Raiders game. Obviously, it's been put in this late slate because the Raiders can secure the number 1 overall pick in this game with a loss. They host the Chiefs, who will be starting Chris Oladokun at quarterback once again. I thought he looked pretty decent against the Broncos in Thursday Night Football last week. The Chiefs get 10 days coming into this game, and 5.5-point favourites going to the Raiders. This could be Travis Kelce's last game. Potentially, sounds like it could be. That's probably another reason why it's in the late slate here with all these other games. A bit of it feels weird talking about Kansas City at 6-10 in a meaningless game in Week 18, doesn't it? They're 5.5-point favourites.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's I didn't have a lot of confidence in Kansas City coming into this season, but for it to go this bad is like, wow, like no one would have seen that coming. It's a shame, really. Like, I know that it's been boring how dominant they've been, but to see Kelce probably go out like this, not great. You never want to see a great player like Patrick Mahomes get injured. But they weren't good with Patrick Mahomes either. So, were they ever going to make any noise in the playoffs this season? Probably not. Having said that, they're going against the Raiders this weekend. It's sad to see Pete Carroll go down like this. Probably going to get fired at the end of the year. They're probably going to draft a quarterback with a number 1 pick, Geno Smith, after giving him a huge contract. Probably going to be looking for a new team. Big issues there. The Raiders look totally out of whack. I'm going for Kansas City.
Yeah, as harsh as I'm almost going to go for Kansas City. As harsh as it is on Pete Carroll, it's exactly what the Raiders needed, if we're being honest, because they've been not terrible enough. Like, they've not had a top 5 draft pick and able to get a quarterback or get a franchise changing player for like forever. So that's been the issue. They've just not been bad enough. They've just been sort of so for the Raiders, it probably is a godsend. For Pete Carroll's legacy is not a great look at all, especially after with how good Mark McDonald's coming in, being in Seattle, and how the last couple of years were in Seattle as well. Not great for him. 2 more games in the late slate. This next one, Dolphins Patriots. Patriots need to win to put pressure on Denver for that 1 seed. They are 11.5-point favourites over the Dolphins here. In this game, you'd like to think New England will win this game, but 11.5 against the Miami team that have sort of been decent. I've only got. It is an interesting spread, that, isn't it?
It is an interesting spread. Quinn Ewers has shown glimpses. Like I say, wasn't as good as his stats suggested in that last game. I can't remember. The safety played it so poorly in that deep throw down the
Antoine
left line.
That
was
terrible.
So bad. Yeah, that was incredibly poor. From a very good player as well. He's a great player. I want to see Quinn Ewers against this Patriots defense because, he could really, really struggle, of course. But if he has a semi, impressive game, I like Quinn Ewers as a prospect. Needs a good offensive line, needs some good receivers. But I'm interested to watch this game. I'm going to take Miami here. I think they're a scrappy team. Is Jordan Brooks injured? Is he out now?
I'm honestly not sure. Doesn't sound like he's going to. I don't know. Obviously, we won't know until later in the week.
Okay. Either way, I want to take Miami.
I can't pick against this. Sorry, I can't pick this Dolphins team to come within 11.5 points. I just can't do it. I think that I've been hurt by the Dolphins team so many times. I'm rooting for a loss as well, because win this game, the Dolphins will pick like 15th or whatever in the draft. Lose this game, they could pick as low as 8th. So personally, I really hope the Patriots absolutely blow the doors off the Dolphins here, to be honest with you. So give me New England here. And then the last game sees the Eagles host the Commanders. Obviously, the NFL probably would have been looking at this one as maybe a Sunday Night Football closer coming into the season. Obviously, the repeat of the NFC Championship game last year. It's not the case. It's an 11-win team against a 4-win team. Eagles playing for the 2 seed here. They, after winning against the Bills last week, they've actually got a chance to that now, which looked not that swing again off the basically off the Buffalo game. Their percentage has gone up dramatically to get the number 2 seed, but obviously, and then it went even higher after the Bears lost to the Niners a couple of hours later. Now I feel they've got a great chance at the number 2 seed. They need a win here. 7.5-point favourites over the Commanders.
It's super hard not to pick Philly here. Doing these picks, makes me realize there's a lot of bad teams in the league right now. It's like every game, it's like, oh yeah, they're terrible, like, but it's true. Like another team, Washington, it's like, wow, what a depressing year it's been, and some big questions moving forward. Yeah, they've got Jaden Williams, but like, what are they going to put around him? And need to do some work to their roster. They've got Tay McLaurin on a massive contract, who's now wrong side of 30s. Yeah, it's hard to see how Washington play this game. But the thing is with Eagles, they do play a lot of teams close, right? So I guess you can make a case Washington there. Having said that, Philly needs some momentum going into the playoffs off the back of a really good win against the Buffalo Bills. They get a good win here, they'll feel good about themselves. I'm going with the Eagles. As my AirPod falls out here.
Yeah, me too. Well, here's a little thing here for you. Only 2 road teams are favourites this week. Well,
that's crazy.
Obviously not. This isn't including the 3 the main games, but of these games that are meaningless, only 2 teams on the road are favoured, and that's the Chiefs and the Cowboys. And believe it or not, those 2 teams are playing the Raiders and the Giants, are the 2 worst teams in the league. So. So again, so it really is. It is bad. The NFL is lucky that the Bucs and Panthers lost, and that the Steelers lost last week. Because if those 3 teams won, you'd have absolutely you'd have a terrible slate this week. Yeah. Honestly, we'd be scrambling around trying to think of something to say because it would have all been wrapped up pretty much. You'd have all the teams confirmed in the playoffs. You'd have all 14, and the only game of any significance would have been Seattle, San Francisco in the entire week. Which is just crazy looking at this slate. It's just like, wow, the NFL have dodged a bullet there. But what a crazy season it has been. Well, that's it for the regular season podcast. So obviously I'll be doing this throughout the playoffs. A big thank you for your help this season, Charlie. It's been great. Big thank you to all the guests on the podcast this season. I've really, really appreciated it, especially in the last couple of weeks. I've had a job. It's been a lot harder to try and schedule the podcast and everything. So yeah, big thank you to everyone, and big thank you to you guys for listening or streaming or how you consume this podcast. Roll on the playoffs, man. Roll on the playoffs. Just before I go, Charlie, do you want to let everyone know where they can find your work?
Yeah, at Charlie Reach PLC, Daily Mirror, Express, Irish Star. Coverage throughout the playoffs, a lot of prediction pieces, a lot of trying to get some interviews here and there. Yeah, appreciate it, Sam.
That's right, man. No trouble at all. I've been Sam Moores. This has been the Full 10 Yards NFL podcast, and I will see you to talk about the Super Wildcard weekend, which, it's come around so quickly.